Hello, welcome back. This is just another shop update on what I've been working on. So this is the 132 driver tray. Got a little flasher on the head over there, and the roll bar is a little too high for certain bodies, but it's for scratch building. I'm going to put it into cars that I'm working on. I want to show you. You can see there's the driver in there. It's got the helmeted head on there, and yeah, it's got a gauge decal in there. You can see it right, speedometer gauges. But it fits in there pretty good. This is I was testing out some decals on the old Cyclone. This is a Pioneer chassis. Fits underneath there pretty decently. That's the driver tray. I have one. Here's one of the civilian drivers painted in here, and it's pretty simple. It's a pretty basic little tray. He's actually got the sweeper speedometer in there, and it's kind of hard to see it, but he does have a couple little gauges in there. Anyhow, there it is for the civilian cars. Back here, there's two holes you want to finish poking out if you want to put the roll bar in, and then the cross piece goes over here, and then these pieces go up and join to it, like in here. See, there's the cross piece, and there's the two down pieces, and there's the cross piece if you want a roll bar. So that's one thing that's done off the to-do list. Second thing that's off the to-do list, I got this sprue done, and it's ready to go. I've got the here's the driver's sprue. It came out of the mold. It runs pretty nice. I lose this head sometimes, and the driver helmet, it's got a little flash here on both sides, but you can clear that off. I don't like this little mold line here across the top of this guy's head right here. That takes a bit of work, but I got pretty good results with them. I put them on these sticks to paint, and then just primer them white. Now on the girl, the back is not finished because it's supposed to be up against the car seat. You can't see it, but that allows you to pivot those arms pretty wildly, and you can do different movements. And then pre-painted convertible, and there's the driver and the passenger in there. And this, it's a digital car. I'm putting the 1/32 scale stretch chassis underneath here, but that's the drivers. Let me show you some of the decals. And so I've been batch painting these with contrast paints. I got 28 more primed. The shirt decals, I think, just make it a little different. This guy's my racer with his helmet on, and the girls have like a summertime halter top. There's some decals that are small enough to put on the girls, but not that many. I would say these guys are closer to 124 than 125, but this is a 1/25 scale car, and I don't think they look bad in there at all. So it could be used for either or. Human anatomy changes a little bit, so it doesn't matter, but the stuff was painted mostly with contrast paints, and I batch paint them. I just put the flesh over top the white primer, and then this guy had orc green, so he looked like he has a little bit of a tie-dye shirt. And then I forget which color brown I used for his hair, and you can see that stubborn little mold line there. That's kind of a pain to get out of there, but overall I like them. And so this is, I think I have 40 of these between the ones that I have primered and the ones that are done, so that I can make a numerous of my model cars into slot cars. Now, one other thing that's done, this is a little tricky, I have to explain this. And this is the mounting post system that I developed, and I'll show you how it works. You take there's different heights. You can see some of the posts are taller than others, and then some of them are even taller than that. So the kit comes with 4 different heights. You get 2 of this sprue with the short ones, because they're probably going to be the most common ones, and then you get a couple of these tall ones if you want to. And I got some screws thrown in there too. So you just take the one off the side you want to use, and you put it in here as far apart as you need it to be, and then you mount it onto the chassis and you glue it. So you can go with a real tight bolt pattern, or you can slide it apart. And I'll show you how I've been using it. I built this from all this stuff I built for me. You can see in the back of this GTO, that is the tallest, that's the tall post right back there. and it glues into the body, and then I can screw the chassis on with 2 screws. I actually found screws that will work on this. It took me a little while to finagle this a bit. I'll show you how it worked out. It's a bit of a compromise. Everything is a compromise. So that point right there that slides in and out, that point is what formed the inside of these posts. So inside this hole, it's shaped like that point. This screw is not too long and not too short. It'll fit in there, and then right there, it'll start to bite. So I'm okay using these screws. If you want to use a bigger screw, you're going to have to maybe drill it out. If you want to use a smaller screw, just get a longer screw because it will eventually go into where it bites. One of the things, this is what I'm using. So I included these in the pack. You get some screws in there. But if you want to use a different screw, you can. And it is tapered. So, you know, if you come in with a big screw, it'll split as it comes down in here if you just try to jam a big screw in there. This one works pretty good. You're not killing yourself. It goes in there pretty, you know, so it starts pretty nicely. Couple turns, and the chassis is nice and tight and secured. This screw works for me. If it don't work for you, you have to try a different one. But this is a mounting system, and I just threw a couple of these in a pack. I don't know if anybody else wants to use them for scratch building, but I always had a problem trying to figure out how to get my cars mounted to the chassis, and depending on the chassis used. Now this Cyclone kit that I made, I actually made mounting posts specifically for the Pioneer chassis, so they are already pre-spaced. But I wanted something more universal. So that's the Pioneer chassis. The mounting posts that come with this kit go right underneath there. And I actually had to shave it down because the front was just a little bit too much of a gap underneath the fender. Yeah, you got to set that in there pretty close because it's a pretty tight fit in here. It'll rub if you don't put it in. But what I do is I screw the post to the chassis and then I glue the body on. That's what I do with this too. Now, I actually shimmed this one up a little bit because even my tallest post was not quite tall enough, so I put a space underneath there. That's one of my bases. And I shim it up and get it to where it fits nice before I put the glue on. So you screw the mounting post to your chassis and whatever. So those things are for my last update. Those are 3 things that I was working on. All 3 of those things are in the shop. I even put the drivers on Etsy. I had my first Etsy sale because Amazon's been kicking me off, so I'm trying to find another place to go. So I'm on Etsy also. It was nice to get a couple of projects off the potential list and onward. There's one other thing that I'm working on. A while back I made some tanks for 15mm Sci-fi, and I ran some of these for me because I'm trying to build up my Steel Legion. I think this is kind of a neat little kit. It's a pretty easy little kit. You got a top, a bottom, and then these pieces fill in the side, and when you're done you have a hollow tank. I made these a long time ago. This mold is very kind of primitive, and when I made this mold I had a case of CRC dry release film for the mold, and it worked, but they stopped making that product, and so the only thing I can find is lecithin, and that doesn't release properly. So I made a few of these and then I tore the mold back down, and I don't think I'm going to be able to offer this for sale. I might redo this mold, but when I made this there wasn't 3D printing. You know, it didn't exist. So right now it just seems like something like this is rather superfluous. I think it's a neat little kit, and the turret here fits in there, and then you just glue whatever gun you want onto it. And these guns are designed to kind of mimic what you would get in an old 3rd edition 40K Lehman Russ. You had your little stubby artillery, you had your minigun looking thing. These are for the sponsons. These are the sponsons. You can glue the sponsons on the side, or you can glue the doors. Yeah, it's a neat little kit. I got about a dozen of these I'm going to paint up for my 15mm Sci-fi stuff. But so I'm working on this. That's the update from the previous update. I just really like this 70s guy with t-shirt, you know, to put into my model car builds. It just was tough to find these without paying $12, $15 for a resin one online, you know. And I could have 3D printed them on my printer, but I just wanted regular, you know, people. I remember seeing those shirts back in the day. All right, that's just a kind of a completely random little update what I'm working on in the shop.